swear with this holy Bible that the evidence I shall give before this committee shall be the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Okay. Please, can you give your full name to the court, to the committee? Sorry, I'm used to court.
My name is Edward Oppong Marfo. My name is Edward Oppong Marfo. I'm from Citi TV. Edward Oppong Marfo. Oppong, O-P-P-O-N-G.
And you are from?
I'm with Citi TV and Citi FM.
Specifically, in which region or city?
Okay. I am the bureau chief for the Middle Belt. So Ashanti region, Bong Ahafo, that's the Buno East and Ahafo. Bureau chief.
Bureau. So where are you ordinarily stationed? Ordinarily, which of the cities do you work?
Most of the times I'm in the Kumasi office.
And can you tell the committee what role you play at your station?
As a journalist, I report. I also coordinate news activities within my area, the Middle Belt. So we plan news activities, we plan out the things that we want to come up with. And we work on special stories, features,
Hold on. I wanted to find out your designation. Exactly what? Yes, as the bureau chief, what roles do you play? What exactly do you do? Camera, editing, coverage, documentary? That's what I want to know.
Yes, so I coordinate news activities. That's for the journalists within the jurisdiction. So we'll look at the Ashanti region, Buno East and Ahafo. Aside that, myself, I report. I also edit videos as well.
So on the 29th of June 2021, where were you working? Which part of Ghana were you working?
On the 29th, by 6:30 a.m., I was my team. There's a camera technician, is Jeremiah Ejemenu, and with our driver, Yao Boatin. So we're in our office. By 6:30, we're in our office and we're setting off. We're going to Ejura. So we left around 6:30 a.m. And then we decided to move to Ejura. By then we had
So where is the office where you set off from at 6:30 a.m. to Ejura? Where is the office located?
Our office is at Stadium.
In Kumasi.
It's Kumasi.
Now, what prompted you moving at as early as 6:30 a.m. with the cameraman to Ejura? What information had you received in order for you to have gone there with cameras?
Prior to that, we are ahead of this report that a man has been beaten and he was injured at the time. But by Monday, I heard of it, so I called the district commander, DSP Kofi Hammond. I called him, so I spoke to him on phone for close to 10 minutes. So he explained what had happened. And from there, that's the Monday 28th.
Please slow down. Do it sentence by sentence.
Okay.
So that they can capture more of it. After a sentence, you can pause a bit.
So this is the 28th. So the 28th, I spoke with the district commander. I had a phone conversation with him for close to 10 minutes, and he explained what had happened.
So on the 29th in the morning, you went there with your cameraman in anticipation that something could happen. Is that so?
No, in fact, with the 28th, when I spoke with him, I also spoke with the wife of the one who had been injured at the time. So I got that information, and later I called the wife, and the wife told me that the person in question is no more and has actually died. And so we're in Kumasi, we heard of the agitations in the evening on the 28th. So with based on that information, we decided to go there early enough to really find out what was going on within the community.
Okay, so continue. You got to Ejura, and what happened?
So before getting to Ejura, we had established contacts with some key people within the area. And so I spoke with the assembly member when we were getting closer. So the assembly member told us that as at that time was closed, it was some few minutes to 9 a.m. as at the time. So he told us that they were having a conversation with the chief of Ejura. Apparently, the chief had invited the youth groups over there. He had received information that some people wanted to protest that morning, per the information received. So he told us that they are at the chief's palace, so we should try and get there on time so that we can really get to know the kind of conversation going on between the chief and the residents at the time. But just as we got there, I called him. I called the assembly member. My understanding is Zakaria Ibrahim. And he told us that they had just left because they are done with the meeting with the chief. And that the chief chief at the time. So the assembly member said he was some few meters away, so he had to meet us. And within that period, as we were waiting, we saw some of the sub-chiefs at Ejura, the chief's palace place. And so they said they were making arrangements for us so we can talk to the chief. So we requested for an interview with the Ejura chief. And so as we were waiting, the assembly member arrived. And there were some of the young people who were also around at the time. So we decided to interview him, and there some of the young men around who were earlier were there, and the chief spoke to them. They also stood beside him, and then we interviewed him basically on the situation, how the security situation has been in the area. And if I was some of the young men who were around at the time, it was later, I'll come back to this, but it was later that we realized that one of the people Nasir Yusuf, who was shot later, he was one of the people who were standing beside the assemblyman at the time that we were having that interview with him. So we interviewed the assemblyman. Later, we were called that the chief was in his lobby, so we can join him.
Let's go point on point on the very salient point, so that if you requested to see the chief, were you able to see him, and what happened? As to the very little details, if you could,
okay,
so that we move on quickly.
So, in essence, we met the chief, but he delegated the Nifahini to speak to us. He spoke to us and gave some assurances as to what they are doing to ensure peace in the area. But just after we were leaving, some of the youth groups came there, and they reported to the Nifahini that some people were trying to attack them.
So far, the youth that you had met when you went there, how did they appear? I mean, did they come in a calm manner? Were they angry youth, or what form did they meet you with? Was it a normal, calm group? The ones you had met earlier?
They came around, and they indicated to the traditional authorities that they wanted the chiefs to intervene, else there could be some kind of reprisal attacks. And so right from there, they were preparing to go to the cemetery. And so we asked of where the burial service would be held. So we decided to move towards the area.
So going back a bit, as you just stated, you said some group came and said they were afraid that their lives were in danger or something like that.
Yes.
Okay, so follow on from that.
The Nifahini...
They lodged a complaint with the Nifahini,
yes,
about their fear that they could be attacked.
Yes.
So what happened?
The Nifahini also spoke with them and called on them to be calm throughout. And they agreed, and they later left. One of them indicated that he was a brother to the deceased. So we went, we asked of where the burial service was going to be held, so we decided to go there. So as we were on our way, we saw a police vehicle. The water cannon vehicle was right in front of us. So he gave us an idea as to where the burial service will be held. And we're still asking though.
For some clarity, was it burial or burial service? Or,
okay, it was a burial.
There's a burial.
Burial. So we then moved closer, and the water canal vehicle got to a point and it stopped. So we also stopped with our vehicle. We asked our driver to also stop at a point, and then that's myself and the camera technician, we decided to move closer to where the burial was going on. So as at this time, it was almost 10:30 a.m. And so we had to do a live report on TV. So I did a live report there at the time. So as we were doing the live report, I was facing the vehicle, and the barrier, where the barrier was being held, was behind me. So the police vehicle tried moving closer to where the barrier was being held.
So with the police vehicle, did you see policemen? Sometimes you can see them on top wielding guns and all that. Did you see them with any weapons, or they were just in the vehicle?
I just saw the vehicle. I didn't really see them either on top or anywhere, but I saw the vehicle getting closer.
Hold on. Please, sir. Please, sir. Is there any problem? You have to address it to us. Don't take anything to them without our knowledge. Yes. Aja, what did they bring? Yes. Yes, let them pass through this place. Please. Nana. Take them. Let's see it before it goes here. Thank you. We will have to number it. This it relates to the testimony of the district commander. Yes. No, the district commander. When he brought the pictures. It's rather the regional commander. Yes. You know, the one on the pen drive. This is the physical. Yes. So the pen drive, we marked it as what? C. So make this one C1, C2, C3, yes, C series. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, sorry for the interruption. You can continue if you can remember what you said last.
And so I got to the point where I said I was doing a live report, and I saw the police vehicle, the water cannon vehicle, moving closer to where we were. And so as I was reporting at this time, I also heard some people saying that they don't need the police over there at where the person is being buried. And so they were telling the police to go away. And in that case, I saw some of them with stones and clubs, and they were trying to drive the police vehicle away.
Okay, so can you tell the committee, since you heard them speaking, in what language you heard them speaking?
some of them were speaking in Hausa. I don't speak Hausa, but I heard these ones are the ones that I heard that were in Chi.
Right. Now, earlier on, when you went to the cemetery or on your way, did you meet some of the residents there? Those who were going to do the burial, did you meet some of them on the way and at the cemetery?
We're in a vehicle. So we got to a part where a number of them had gathered at the place where they were supposed to bury the person. Okay.
So when you saw them, were they wielding these weapons or implements you said later you saw them with? The stones, the machetes and all that?
I saw those were stones and the clubs, those ones I saw when the police vehicle started moving closer. That was when I saw that the crowd, the people over there had been so agitated and they were rushing towards where the vehicle was.
So when they were at the cemetery, you saw them, but you cannot tell whether they had any of such implements with them.
I saw
at the same cemetery, whilst they saw the police van, suddenly they had these weapons.
It was when the vans were getting closer. That was where I saw the stones and the sticks.
Was the cemetery close to any building or homes around such that they could have gone in and come out?
Not really. It looks a bit isolated, not really closer to houses.
Okay, please continue. So they said they were agitated while the police were there at the cemetery.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so even at that point, I felt I wasn't even safe at the time because the people were just rushing. And in my live report, as I was even trying to report, some would just rush, come in, try to say a word or two. And so in the process, I saw that the police vehicle had turned and was just moving away from the area. So it was, and some people were chasing the vehicle. And at that time, they were just throwing stones over there. And even at that point, our vehicle was parked at a different side. So when I was doing the live report, I still could see our driver turning fast and moving away from the area. So we finished the live report, and when we were done, there were just a few people who were still at the cemetery. And some had gone because they were chasing the vehicle. Some had gone. So when we were done and we moved towards where our vehicle was supposed to be, we tried reaching our driver and were unable to reach him for some time. So we later called him and he said when they were throwing the stones, our screen, the window side of the vehicle got smashed, and it has been smashed that way. That's why he told us. And so he was running for safety.
Do you have any picture or any sort of evidence to show this car of yours which was smashed?
Yes, I have it. I have given it to him.
Okay.
In a video form. Yes. Yes. Okay, so we were unable to find our driver. We called and he said he had gone back to the Chief's Palace. So that's why we wanted to find out if he was safe and the vehicle too was safe as well. So we went there, and while we were there, we heard there had been gunshots. So we rushed to where they said there had been that gunshot. We went to the area, and there were a number of people who had massed up over there. We saw a transmitter, which the oil was just coming out of it. And there were some eyewitnesses there too. We spoke with them, and we were told some people had been rushed to the hospital. So we followed up at the hospital.
Now, before going to the hospital, apart from the police water cannon vehicle, which you saw at the cemetery, did you see any member of the security forces, either police or army, near the cemetery, near the Chief's Palace, any of these places?
For the Chief's Palace, as at the time, there wasn't any military person, as at the time.
Either of them, police or military, any of them?
For the military, I didn't see them at the cemetery too. It was just the police.
So you cannot tell whether by your oral evidence or the video how many policemen you saw or how many military officers you saw?
I can't tell.
Okay. So were you able to capture or the time when the shooting occurred?
We heard it much later because we had to meet our driver. So that period, we cannot tell the specific time.
Please continue from the hospital at the hospital.
So we went to the hospital. We were trying to get the medical superintendent, but at that point in time, he was not available. And so one man walked out and he was crying. And according to him, his younger brother had died as a result of the shooting. So we spoke with him. And after talking to him, I still tried to go inside and talk to the medical superintendent. And I interviewed him, and he confirmed that 2 people had died as a result of gunshot wounds, and there were 4 other persons who also sustained some gunshot wounds.
So between the time that the rioters or the group were following or chasing the police vehicle and the time that you heard of the shooting, about how long in duration?
I think between 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay. Do you have any more evidence?
So from the place that we saw the bodies being released to their families, and after that time, I still wanted to get some information from the police because the commander had spoken to him a day before, and so I wanted to talk to him if with the protesters they had been able to make any arrest or there was any update that he could give me. So we heard that they were at the chief's palace, that the team of the police and the military, they were at the chief's palace. So we went there. Fortunately, the commander, the DSP Philip Kojo Hammond, he was there. I also saw the SWAT commander, and I saw the one leading the military team. So I was approaching the commander. I wanted to talk to him. I introduced myself that, oh, I spoke with you yesterday. So, and yes, he said yes, he actually, he remembers that. And then, as he was about talking to me, the military man who was leading the team came to say that no one will speak to the media, and that we should rather go to the town and advise the people. And as a result of that, the commander declined to even speak to me. So he didn't speak to me.
Specifically, you mean the commander who came here, the district commander?
Yes, please.
Okay, so go on.
So basically that's it.
Okay, so the evidence that you have, the video evidence, who took the video?
My camera technician, Jeremiah J. Menu.
So you can explain whatever happened?
Yes, please.
Okay.
You have the video. Yes, before we play the video to see the content, I would like to find out from you. Did you capture the incident that took place during which these gunshots injured the 4, and as a result, 2 others also died?
No, please.
So, what exactly did you capture, which is on the video?
What happened at the burial grounds? That's the main one. And what happened at the Ejura Government Hospital when the residents besieged the area?
So you have no knowledge about the circumstances that led to the shooting, for which 4 persons were injured and 2 losing their lives?
No, please.
Thank you.
So you can help us as it plays along. If you have anything to explain, then you do it for us.
Yes, sir. I think it's quite long. We can't sit it. If we even sit here till 4 o'clock, we will not finish. But you know the earlier clip at the cemetery, yes, relating it to your evidence that some of them were holding sticks, clubs, stones, and other things. I did not, looking at your video clip, I did not see those implements or weapons with the people. Or you failed to capture that aspect?
My Lord, the video captured a part where some were holding stones. It captured it.
How many? I think only some 2 or 3 persons who were holding stones.
And aside that, there are some persons who were holding stones and these implements. Just that at a point, because we were in the middle of the people, we were unable to just shoot at them. Because I remember even at the point when I was reporting, I could hear some people saying that the fact that the camera is on them, it could be in trouble. I heard that.
Oh, very well. And you couldn't, from here, I don't know whether the other clips contains the youth or the people chasing the military vehicle, as you allege in your testimony.
Yes, my Lord.
Did you capture that aspect?
Checking to the videos, that part was not captured, but I saw that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for doing a good media coverage, which would help. But shooting ahead, I would say that once you are brave to be amongst them, I think Erastus also did the same, and I was congratulating him. It were better if you were able to capture some small amount of the miscreants, so that would be evidence. That is how we can use them in doing the justice they are calling for. So you capture those who have taken the law into their own hands. When we deal with them, then they will know how strict the law is. So in future, try and even hidden cameras and whatnot. But your bravery, I give you a plus. My 2 worries. Why did you decide to go to Ejura and not Sechedumasi, where maybe some small Enchidanso has stolen some plantain over there?
It's because of the nature of the story. We had heard about it, and we felt it was newsworthy, so we decided to go there.
So what was the end game? What were you trying to show?
Basically, there are concerns that people were expressing, so we wanted their concerns to be heard.
But not the justice they are talking about.
Those are part of their concerns.
Because for me, it's a country, and security is very important. They're killing themselves, and they expect you, the cameraman, or me, or somebody else to give them justice. So what were you trying to show? Because most of your reportage must help build the nation.
Usually, before all the things that happened, we had a plan. The plan was to get to the burial grounds, then later get to the family, talk to them, get to understand the issues, and then put the whole story together. And then if there are concerns, and we had the police in mind as well, we get all angles connected to the story. And definitely, since a life is involved, it's newsworthy enough, and there are lessons that we can draw from the story. So we felt, based on that, it was newsworthy enough to follow it that way.
No matter how newsworthy a situation is, do you think at times media reportage and the commentaries you give on your own create a condition for instability and insecurity?
Generally, I think, just like every profession, there are excesses. So there is that possibility.
What aspect of your reportage has anything positive or a change of attitude, both from the security services and from the people?
Based on this report, my lord?
Your reportage, yes.
This is basically to tell the story, get to know what is happening. And once we're able to know what is happening, it will inform decision makings.
But you didn't give us anything decision-making wise.
My lord, I didn't get that.
You didn't give us anything decision-making wise from your reportage.
With the interview with the chiefs, the chief actually talked about that, the sort of engagements they are having, and with the parts where I spoke to the assembly member, he also talked about things that definitely, if the key stakeholders look into them, it can help in building the country. These are genuine concerns, in my view.
What is the way forward, you think? What does the media want to, from Citi FM? What do you want to see us put in our report that will either minimize, take away, or mitigate whatever we are seeing in our country as insecurity?
When I was covering this story throughout, one thing that stood out for me was that the people, when I engaged them, the residents, they felt that there is no sense of urgency when they report issues concerning their lives to the security service. So they feel the security is not really doing enough for them. And that's something that was running through with most of the interviews I had with the residents.
That's very important. And I say, what can we do? You and me, we have to set the agenda. You and me, I'm an intellectual. You are the media. For me, at times, my area gives me the pleasure to always watch films about these things. I know issues like murder and what I can take 30 years. Cold, murder stories. And the people have the patience to wait for the police to do their work, helping the police with leads. Are you sure our population has been given this attitude towards? They wanted just, they said they've given what, 1 week? Is that how Ghana must go?
I think generally the orientation is part of it. And we all have a key role to play. The media, those in academia, and for the general public. With how we orient people, it comes into play. Because at times people try to just do things on their own.
What do we have to do, media, us and everybody have to do to create a new socio-psychological canopy in Ghana about hooliganism, impatience? I don't know how you people call it, the youth. Me, I'm an old man. But it's like that get results quick, get rich quick, get answers quick attitude and insubordination. Are you not sure, are you not in the Citi News, are you not worried that this is the order of the day in Ghana?
Well, sensitization is key. And in my view, my personal view, I think there should be that kind of conscious effort to really sensitize people with institutions like the NCC and obviously the media we also have a key role to play. If we're able to sensitize people more on some of these issues. Because personally, there are a number of people I've interviewed, especially when it comes to murder-related issues. And when there's this general perception that Ghana's justice delivery system delays a lot. So at times, people try to just find ways of getting their own form of justice. This is something, in my view, I think we should really look at it, have a way of psyching people, to reorient them, and I think all key stakeholders have roles to play in this regard.
Thank you. I commend you for your bravery.
Thank you.
So I have...
Prof asked, you see, don't you think that the media has a crucial role to play in the sensitization of the people regarding the time frame to demand justice? This is the situation, somebody has been killed. Whether whatever motive the person who killed him or who caused injury to him needs to be investigated. And, you know, arresting people, taking statement from them, putting them before court, willing witnesses to testify, and judgment being pronounced. It is not a case of 1 week, 1 month situation. Because for the police to conclude, because immediately it becomes murder, the procedure changes. For police to conclude their investigation, build a docket, send it to AG's department for prosecution to begin, it takes time. Don't you think the media has a role to sensitize the people to know that, look, when it comes to issues of crime, there's no need to rush. Because what do we achieve? By putting the wrong people before court for them to be free, or taking time to investigate, get the actual culprit to prosecute, if it will even take 2 years. Then at the end of it, the person is convicted and punished. Do you recommend to your colleagues in the media that you, when I say you, I mean the media, should be circumspect upon hearing that something has happened to prejudge the motives and the circumstances surrounding the occurrence of that event?
Yes, my Lord, I admit that the media has a key role to play. But just as the media has a key role to play, the judiciary also plays a key role because, my Lord, you understand some of these things even better. So if there are forums that you can create, that's you in the judiciary, where you enlighten people more on some of these issues, it will really help. And for us as media, you invite us, we'll be available to provide a platform, you educate people more on some of these issues. Just that at times, because media, we touch on a lot of issues, when issues come, people feel the media too, there are lapses and people have to criticize us. Obviously, we are not above criticism, but I think it's a collective thing that we should come up with. There should be that kind of concerted effort to look at how to address some of these issues. Some media people may not really know more about how long it's supposed to take for a case to reach the stage where we can start a trial and other things. So the key stakeholders should also come in this regard. But one major issue too in Ghana is that the media will be playing its key role. But as we are playing our role, you will find some institutions not helping the media. At times you need information, you go to key offices, they don't avail themselves. The police, they were here. The deputy commander, there are a lot of instances. You call him, you want an information on it. He will direct you to PRO. PRO will say, oh, maybe call the deputy commander, or I'm not available. PRO travels. We can't get information. The key institutions are also not helping. And that is very true. And so it has to be that kind of collaboration between the media and the key bodies. Because within this period, a little over 10 years that I've been in this profession, you talk to people, you get to offices. Once they get to know you are going to use it, there's a different orientation people have. So there is the kind of reception you're supposed to get, you don't even get at times. So generally, we all have a key role to play, and various bodies should really see how we can collaborate. Because I remember when we went to Ejura, there are instances, the military team, we saw them. You know, they will tell you, you can't film us, you're around. They will warn you, don't film us. But at some instances, you even want information, just some kind of confrontation, and then it try to, it's as if we are on the battlefield. So it's something that generally we should reorient people, and then we use the media to drive it. I think that will really help.
Well, thank you very much. Just a quick question about the posture of the security services. During one of your commentaries on your clip, you said that the military, not the military, the security services were doing their best and so on and so forth. In your own estimation on the day, what was the posture? Were they confrontational? Do you feel they were being professional? What was it? What was the posture on the day?
At the point where it started was just after the cemetery. And with that side, I actually didn't see any kind of confrontational aspect coming from the police. What I saw was when the police van started moving closer, that's where people started chasing them and indicated that they don't want to see them because they feel they have not been addressing their issues. And so that is not even the time to come closer. That was it. But I didn't sense any aspect of the whole thing being confrontational.
Okay. And you mentioned that you don't get a lot of information from the institutions, and even on the day, on the field, you had wanted to interview the commander.
Yes.
And somebody had blocked you and hadn't allowed you. Do you feel that the right to information bill that's been passed, do you feel in your line of work that it's working, or do you feel that you yourselves haven't taken advantage of it to that extent as the media?
In theory, it's a very good policy, but personally, I've not really seen a practical aspect of the whole bill, the right to information bill, because I feel there are still bureaucracies around it. What it is supposed to really address, in my view, it has not really addressed that.
But you're familiar with how to go about getting the information, and you use these methods, and yet you don't get the information?
To really say we are really familiar, we know the steps all right, but there are still issues around it that should be made clear enough so that we can get information. And there are times it's not even about applying. You need information, we're on the ground. You need information from a police officer. They won't give you the information. At times something happens on the scene. The officers there will tell you, we are not in a position to speak to you. But it's something that is newsworthy and we would like to report on. But the officers will tell you they won't speak to you. You call their superior, the superior will either will not answer your call or will tell you that they are going to get back. You call again, you don't get any information.
But how does the media build those relationships? Those are really relationship-based issues. If you have a relationship with the PRO or the police commandant before, or any of the securities, before an issue crops up, I'm sure that you would have avenues, no?
Yes, we do. Even for Ashanti region, we're on a platform. There's a police platform where the police PRO updates us. But how frequent is that? Or when an issue happens, how can you have access? There are issues that will happen in a different area. You call the regional police PRO, he may tell you that he's not aware of the issue. Okay. The commander there at times will tell you they have sent the issue to the regional, so you should call the regional. But the regional will tell you still they don't have any information on it. So at times, the media just struggles when it comes to some of these issues. But they turn back just to, and they blame us in the long run. And I feel it's very, very much unfair. Okay.
I think my last maybe two questions are, one, were you yourselves as the team that went to cover this incident, how were you kitted? What was your kit? Were you wearing any protective gears? What was your kit?
I was in this jacket. It's a Citi FM.
So you could have died out there.
Yes. So we're trying to get the news. We're also being cautious as well.
I see. Okay. I think my final question is really on social media. There's a lot that goes on social media. And as a media trainer, strategist, I've always wondered what's the relationship between news houses, and because you're in the seat, I thought I might ask you, do you sometimes get some of your information off social media and feed that into the mainstream, and how do you verify? What sort of steps do you take? Because with this particular story, I think there was a lot of information that was getting into your newsroom and fueling your investigation from social media?
For us as Citi, we have a quality control process. There are ways that before we put anything out there, we try to verify, and at least we have the key contacts. So if they say this person has done that, we'll try and call the person, really find out if indeed it happened. So there are ways of really verifying. Because now we know, because of the era of fake news, you try to put something out there, it could be just a fabrication and it will affect your brand. And so it's the issue of verification that we consider as key.
Thank you very much. I think we are very grateful for the information and evidence that you've given to us. We will later watch the entire clip, and whatever is in there, we will look at them. If it becomes necessary for us to call you back for further clarification, we will do that. Thank you.
Thank you, my Lord.
At this juncture, I think we will bring today's proceedings to an end. The committee sitting is hereby adjourned to tomorrow at 10 a.m. I believe we have some more witnesses to take tomorrow morning. Thank you.